Hey, what's up, guys? Hello. How you guys doing? Sorry, I was kind of being quiet because the cats were fighting earlier. Wasn't sure if I was going to have to turn off the mic. I'm fine. But the cats are a little bit on edge right now. The house is being cleaned, so they're a little bit uncertain. Hope you guys are doing well. Alright, you gonna give me something I don't have? I already got that one. up, Albie? Hello. Yeah, I'm addicted to this game. Quite the addiction. Especially because I can play it over here. I'm going to assume you guys have good quality. It's not like lagging or anything. But yeah, being able to play it when I'm working, play over while I'm working here, definitely helps its case. Just trying to grind some chips out. How's the quality? Is it like laggy or choppy at all? Should be fine. I mean, this game doesn't pack the Steam Deck, obviously. It's an indie game. Hasn't been a new game that I've wanted to play that I could play on these streams since Absolute, actually. That was the last game that I could play on these streams. Yeah, there should be some Morbid Metal, more of this tonight when I get home, provided I don't do voice chat in my Discord. I haven't decided yet. Boss is not fun to fight. Evil boss that spams ads. Personal shadow is really a problem. Not bad. Fight is kind of buns for reasons I don't really need to explain. It's just a metric ass ton of guys down there. If she spawns a bunch of shadow enemies, man, it's really hard to like land without taking like almost guaranteed damage. So ideally you want to build around staying in the air and chaining stuff together. Survival now. Boss fight dropped nothing, by the way. That's why I usually run this with accessibility options. It's just frustrating. Drops nothing. But now they have full health, but I cut their damage by like 30% or something. This game likes to spawn like sometimes unavoidable attacks. Hopefully they'll just like nerf them slightly. How are you still alive? Still not die. Die! Could survive that too? What the hell? These enemies have way too much health. Game feels a lot better if you cut their health by like 30%. It actually feels so much better. I get that they're supposed to give good rewards, but I don't know, doing like optimized build and I do like a full combo on them and they take like 20% of their health doesn't feel good either. They need to find better balance. It's not like I'm built properly. It's actually a pretty good build so far. HP sponges. All of that should help. is it sending me invincible? What the hell was that? What? Taking no damage for a while, what? Why they give them so much health? Scale up like way faster than you can. Takes away the power fantasy when you like build properly and it still takes like 200 hits to die. Aye. Aye. What the hell, man? They're just way too HP spongy. I'm getting tired of it. Build properly and still takes like a million hits to kill them. Hate these auto scrollers. Not fun. Especially when they only give you these guys, so you end up like making less money than normal. Sucks, man. You should not die. You don't need this much health. They already kill you in like 3 hits. One or the other, not both. The armor, and then also just ignoring any of the upgrades you get. You're taking like 1,000 times longer to kill than anything else. Maybe there's some kind of chip that makes that situation more tolerable. Not exactly build guides for this, so very possible that it's on my end, but yeah, a lot of people can do it. Shadow enemies have too much health. I think they should be more like glass cannons. Like, increase their health. It's kind of weird that they can kill you in like 3 hits, and sometimes you just maybe it's better to go for like negation and shock. Negation kills them pretty quickly, at least quicker. Haven't gotten anything this run anyway. That was not worth the effort. Putting them on full HP. One more chance for something worthwhile to drop. Chances are quite low. These ones seem to have fair health. Just die. Die. They're gonna drop nothing, of course. Oh, never mind. Actually, drop something. Yeah, that was a pretty terrible run. 2 SP per second's not bad. Yeah, it was kind of a garbage run. I think maybe I should play something else. Not quite burnout, but the RNG is starting to trigger me. I must be getting close to like exhausting the pool because I keep getting repeats. It's kind of a shame that the game doesn't reward playing through the hardest levels properly. A lot of times you just get the same thing again. It makes playing the game on their default health very frustrating sometimes. You like build properly both pre-run and then after the run, and then it just gives you nothing. It's really weird that they have like you start running out of ways to spend the meta currency. I think they should at least let you like gamble for them or something. Because I've got like 120k and there's nothing to spend it on anymore. If I unlock moves, it cuts like a couple 10,000. They definitely need to work on that. Good game though. What else we got here? They did say I posted feedback in there a while back, like yesterday, and they said that a lot of my suggestions were already making it into the game, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I've been playing a little bit too much of Alloy Crush. It might be time to mix it up a little bit. Been playing a lot of that game. I could definitely make the overview now, which is pretty good. That was like the main goal. Yeah, I'm starting to run the risk of getting burnt out before they start like updating it more. So I gotta watch it. That's like the only game that I've been playing really. That and the gotchas, but the gotchas is like 20, 30 minutes a day. And the other 90% of the time I'm on games has been that. So maybe it's time to give it a rest. They've already put out like 3 patches. They've already put out like 3 patches. It's only been out for like a couple days, like earlier this week. So maybe it's time to slow down a little bit. Briefly played the arcade version. I actually had a legal copy of this. I don't know what happened to it. It got lost in moves, but I did have this game uh, when I was in like middle school and high school. I had this game. To be honest here, it wasn't really a lot of reason to have a great platform for people who don't like. I won't call it a bad console. In the Sonic game, I don't think I ever saw an arcade cabinet for it, but I did have the home version. Gigawing, I did play a lot of Gigawing when I was a kid. Yeah, most of these games in here I actually did have. Uh, I had Cannon Spike. CVS2 doesn't count because I burnt a copy because they didn't bring it out over here. We didn't get CVS2 on Dreamcast until PS2 and the EO version. Yeah, they dipped. Capcom dipped by then, which is interesting because I legally bought like every other game they put out, basically. I had Power Stone 2, I had Third Strike, uh, Mars Matrix as well. I was a pretty big supporter of Capcom during that era. I bought pretty much everything they put out on Dreamcast. Yeah, I know. You've told me that you went to that same arcade. Was it the Nickel City by El Pollo Loco? Like the El Pollo Loco was like right outside, and the kids would go there. Are you talking about that one? Because if so, That's really strange that I've met you in real life like 20 plus years ago. And then you ended up in here somehow. I probably if that's the one that you went to, if you went to that exact one, then yeah, there's no chance I did not see you. That's interesting that you just come in here by coincidence, and that was not a connection that was made back then. If you're talking about the one by El Pollo Loco, back around like 2000, yeah, I definitely have seen you IRL. Was it that one or was it another one? Because if it was that one, then yeah, that's pretty nuts. You were at the exact place at the exact time, if it's that one. Yeah, I went there quite a bit until they closed.
Bleach. Training mode.
Yama voices. Got to get the JP version. Yeah, Nickel City was pretty cool. Well, the selection of the games was pretty good because it was like fully Capcom owned. So at the time I went, it was the Dreamcast, like late CPS2 and early PS2 era. So late 90s to early 2000s is when I went. And they had a lot of Capcom games. It was almost entirely Capcom games. Yeah, if you went to that same Nickel City, then that's pretty crazy that you end up in here by sheer coincidence. But I guess that just kind of happens. People stay in the same interests. Stay in the same interests, and, you know, your interests don't change. You might actually meet some of those people online again. I mean, you've seen what I look like, so maybe you might. It's possible that I talked to you IRL at some point, but who knows? Didn't exactly have documentaries made about me or anything. So yeah, I was there a lot. I mostly played the fighting games. I played a lot of Spawn as well. Spawn and the Demon's Hand. That was fun with just random people digging around. I definitely missed the arcade, but what I'm holding in my hand is better than any of the arcades that are in the area I'm in. They're complete shit. It's all just raw thrill slop and mobile games and big cabinets. Not what I consider to be a real arcade. What I've got here is better.
Select your heroes!
Like actual arcade games.
Fight!
this is one of their best games in my opinion. This is like one of the best games they've ever done.
Let's up. 本気を出せ。Ready? Fight! おりゃ。First attack. おりゃ。
やってった。ほらどうしたよ。どうや。どうや。
おりゃ。どうや。おりゃ。こういう点。
やってった。ほらどうしたよ。
おりゃ。おりゃ。こういう点。どうや。
Like, I grew up watching.
Select your heroes!
The fact that they had him in here is actually really cool to me. Of course, we got the passion. Like, they completely cut it up. That aspect of it is there aren't really a lot of Marvel characters in here. I mean, to be fair, the game was never even supposed to have licensed compared to Marvel, where they're an American company. And they own all the characters, so it's not hard to put anybody in. They actually went and got the license on the which is pretty nuts. I know that the gacha map stuff was a disaster to put in this game because that whole thing is owned by like 3 different companies. The fact that they got everybody to get over except the Hakushan Daimao was pretty crazy, but was it worth it though? I don't think it was. Maybe they should have just like replaced the Tatsunoko characters with just full on like make it a Capcom versus game like All Stars was supposed to be. But yeah, I did like TVC more than Vanilla Marvel 3. I thought it was a better game. Vanilla Marvel 3 was kind of a mess for a number of reasons, and then also it had like an 8-month lifespan because they put out Ultimate like 9 months later. So by the time that they announced Ultimate, a lot of people hopped off Vanilla. A lot of people didn't even play Vanilla Marvel 3 because it had a much shorter lifespan than TVC. But yeah, the comeback mechanic in TVC is way more strategic and encourages execution. Because if you bet like 30% of your health and you drop the combo, well, 20%, 30% of your health is gone. You can't get it back. Which I think is more interesting than just building your team around an anchor like Virgil and then just doing a basic combo and taking off like 90% of the health. I don't find that to be fun. I never once felt like X Factor was a good comeback mechanic. It was kind of a just blanket way to balance the game so that even if you had a shit tier character, you could still win. It felt like that was the only reason why they had that mechanic. Because they saw how people played Marvel 2 for, over a decade at that point, where most of the characters are useless, and you could get into unwinnable situations way too easily. They wanted to, like, just balance it that way, but I don't think it was very good, in my opinion. Every match I won with X Factor, I didn't feel like I actually won it. It felt like X Factor won for me, and I don't like comeback mechanics like that, where it's like the game just kind of lets you win, and that's pretty much what X Factor was. Well, you landed a low short, and you go into a basic combo, and it takes off like 70% of their health. It never once felt good. Landing, betting a lot of your health, sacrificing your health with Baroque, and then doing a big combo and crippling their team felt comparatively way better. Aiding makes pretty fun fighting games. It's just people just don't like them because they complain about the balance. It's like, well, at least it's fun. The games don't really hold you back that much. You can definitely do a lot of crazy shit in those games, but you got to be ready to get your shit pushed in. TVC was awesome. I actually played it at Evo 08 when I was still like heavily into fighting games. That was a good time. I got quite a bit of wins that year. But then the competitive aspect of the game was kind of messed up because of the Giants. They started banning the Giants because the Giants just weren't fun to fight. The Giants were like broken and shit at the same time. They were like, I know that you could do some pretty crazy stuff with the Giants, but I never really saw the extent of what you could do with them because they got banned extremely quickly, and like nobody played them online. But yeah, it didn't seem like people really wanted them in the game. But the competitive aspect of TVC was basically killed by two things. The first was being on the Wii. Being on the Wii completely killed it. I mean, it was the cheapest console that you could get, but, you know, the stick compatibility on that thing was terrible. There were like a handful of sticks that you could use on it. And then also, like, we got Vanilla Marvel 3 like a couple months after we got TVC. So that killed even more of the chance it had. But if you're comparing TVC, you know, the final version, which is the one that we got, and then Vanilla Marvel 3, yeah, TVC is a better game for sure. If you're comparing to Ultimate, I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. Ultimate has a lot more. The balance is a lot worse, but there's just more to the game overall. But yeah, TBC didn't have a chance. It was a cool idea. I don't even know why they even bothered localizing it here, because the only like commercially marketable character was Ken and June, and all the Gatchaman characters. But even that's a bit of a stretch because they gave us a butchered version of that show. We didn't have like the actual good version of it. Yeah, we got the gimped shitty version of it that was all cut up and stuff. So I don't really think their inclusion sold as many copies as they wanted. I know it was a hell of a lot of effort for them to bring that game over here, because like some of those companies didn't even exist anymore. At the time that TVC came out, a lot of the companies that localized those Tatsunoko anime over here, like, they didn't even exist anymore. I don't know why they went through the effort, honestly. It felt like everybody who wanted to play it just imported it or pirated it. There aren't really that many characters on the Tatsunoko side that anybody would recognize. Not enough to,
Metal
not enough
Slug!
to warrant going through licensing hell. G-Force, yeah. Yeah, that shit is incredibly neutered.
Okay! Dharma! Mission 1, start! Thank you! Heavy machine gun! Thank you! Heavy machine gun! Thank you! Okay!
only way you can watch Gatchaman is that. Which I grew up watching, by the way. I watched that video. They announced it.
Rocket launcher. Mission complete.
The whole complaint with that game is that
Mission 2 start.
Like the way that you play that game has not changed.
Thank you. Laser gun.
There's still plenty of fighting games that don't improve so much because they're not going for competitive scene. I mean, they are.
Thank you. Okay.
About modern fighting games, and then ones like that come along that are actually legit fun. You know, they may not have AAA graphics or a big robust single player mode. They're still fun, and people won't play them. I just don't know what people actually want at this point, other than just to complain. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go. If my friends don't want to voice chat tonight, I'll be back on with, let's see here, some more Alloy Crush, and then Morbid Metal, probably. I'm not really liking Morbid Metal that much, but might as well grind out the meta currency until they make it better. So yeah, I'll see you guys later tonight, most likely. I gotta finish up the chores here, and then get home, have a snack, take my meds, and I'll probably hop back on. Maybe I'll give this game a bit of a break. You can see I've already played like over 15 hours. RNG in this game has been pretty bad lately, so maybe I'll play something else. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Might be another one of these.